Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. Today is Sunday, September 14, 2025. We see the S&P 500 made 3 consecutive all-time high last week. And also the coming week, we're expecting the Fed to make its latest announcement. I think the market is basically have priced in a 25 basis point of cut from the Fed. And the surprise will come if the Fed decide to cut 50 basis point instead of 25. And that could create a little bit reversal possibility for the market, as the market will question, is there something spooked the Fed to be a little bit more aggressive than what they were been saying, that waiting for the data dependent. So in other words, if they decide to cut 50 basis point, it could be a sign of admitting that they are late. Or the biggest surprise is they decide not to cut. Oh man, then you better be a bear on this market if they decide not to cut. But in any case, I think the market is going to get what it asked for and what it's expecting, which is 25 basis point. And last week, if we look at the S&P 500, you can see that it closed above the weekly range, and it made an all-time high on Friday, but did not close with a new all-time closing high. And it appeared the S&P 500 cash index is consolidating up here near this all-time high area. And also I have the 30-35 SMA cloud and also the 8 and 21 EMA cloud. You can see this moving average clouds here. They are trending up, and also the price action is still maintaining that higher high, higher low type of a price action pattern. So we could expect that this uptrend to continue until we break this structure here. So now let's go and take a look at what the market is pricing in for the coming week. And for the FOMC meeting, the market is pricing in the upper range between 66.70 and 66.60.20. And the low range is between 65.08.40 and 64.65. So what we're going to be watching for is the possibility for it to consolidate here near this 6600 area before it pushes up into this upper range and get above this 6660 area, provided that we get a positive reaction from the market on Jay Powell's presser. What are you going to be saying in this press conference? Or we could also see a little bit of a pullback before the FOMC announcement here, and then push into a new all-time high. Now, after the post FOMC announcement, we could get a little bit of what we call buy the rumor and sell the news. So now the interest rate cut is become reality. Then we could see it might pull back into the 65.55, and if it's unable to hold that, then we look for it to come back down and test this area somewhere around 6,500 level. So those are the possibilities on the S&P 500. Now remember, some of these traders think that we're going to try to predict the market. We're never going to predict what the market is going to do, because nobody knows what the market is going to do. All we're going to do is plan out what the market might do, then we will react based on what the market decided to do. Now let's take a look at the ES, the E-mini S&P 500 future. As you see that the ES is also push up into a new high territory. And you can see from this volume profile here, this composite volume profile, we see a little bit of acceptance up here near the high, based on the Friday's price action and a little bit of the Thursday price action. So we're going to watch to see will it continue to build acceptance here and then pushes up, or will we get a little bit of a liquidation and come to this low volume area and come back down to this 65.15 area for a back test before it pushes back up. Now, the other thing is we're going to be rolling the contract into December this week. So starting on Monday, we're going to be focusing on trading the December contract, and there's going to be some adjustment to the price level. Right now, we're still looking at the September contract, and I haven't adjusted the price here yet because I do not believe that Tradingview have updated the chart with the the continuous contract chart with the December contract pricing yet. So when it does, then I will update this. But for now, we're basically looking at a delta somewhere around, based on my calculation, is somewhere around 56.75 point for the ES. So basically just take whatever the price is on the September contract and add about 56.75, 57 point to it, and that will give you the December contract price. So like I said, as soon as we get that updated, then the chart updated, then I will shift the price up, then we could see those levels. So right now we're basically looking at what the market is pricing in for the coming week. This is based on the December contract price, but I adjusted back down by that 57 or so points. So we're basically getting the upper range in the December contract of 66.86 and 66.64 and then the low range is 65.13 and 64.63 So here what we're going to be looking at is to see would it be able to break you into a new all-time high and come up to the upper range to this 66.64 area, or would it come down. See here we got a low volume area here. We might break down into this area about 65.61 and then dip back down to this 65.15 area and basically testing this lower range of the weekly expected move. Then we get another maybe a push up. So as long as we hold this structure, the higher high, higher low, then the uptrend is still intact. So until we break into a lower low, then we're going to reassess the price action, and then we could start looking at some possibility of a pullback or a downtrend. And looking at the SPY, the ETF for the S&P 500, the market is pricing in the upper range between 665.40 and 665, I believe. And the low range is between 649.40 and 644. So once again, we're basically looking for a little bit of a consolidation here between the all-time high 659 and 657 before it make another push into a new all-time high and work itself up to the upper range in the area of 665. Now, if it pull back, then we look for this low volume zone here between 657.5 down to somewhere near the 654. And if it break this low volume zone, then we look for a pullback to the 649.80 or basically the 650 area for a back test, and that will put the lower range in play. And looking at the NQ, the E-mini NASDAQ 100 future, you see that on Friday it actually put in a new all-time high. And right now it is bumping up against this little bit of a high volume area, maybe do a little bit of a consolidation. And you see that right at the upper range, last week's upper range, we have a little bit of a low volume zone. So it did close above the weekly expected move, the range of the weekly expected move last week. And right now we're looking at the market pricing in the upper range for the coming week between 24,512.25 and 24,469.50. And for the low range is between 23,760.50 and 23,537.20. So what we're going to be watching for the coming week for the NASDAQ, the NQ, is to see whether it continue to break into a new all-time high and push up to this 24,500 area here to the upper range. Now, if it pulls back, then we'll be looking at this basically 2,400 area. I mean 24,000 area to see what it be able to hold. If it's unable to hold that, then we're looking for this thing to come back in to this high volume area, and that could possibly push it down all the way down to this 23,400 area. But in the near term, we're basically looking for the possibility of coming down to this 23,760, this lower range for the weekly expected move on the downside. So just keep an eye on the all-time high. If it could push to it above the all-time high, then we could be looking at the possibility of the upper range in play. But if it dip below 24,000, then look for the possibility of coming back down to the 23,800, 23,700 area. And here looking at the QQQ, we also see the QQQ came up and put in a new all-time high. on Friday here and also closed with a new all-time closing high. Now, for the coming week, the market is pricing in 596.80 and 595.70 for the upper range. And for the lower range, it's between 577.60 and 573. So what we're going to be watching is the all-time high here near the 587.86. If we could push up above the all-time high, then we'd be looking for another push up into the upper range at the 595, 596 area. But if it's unable to hold above the all-time high, we'd be looking at these low volume zone here to get taken out, and that would be somewhere around the 386, 387 area and 385, then down at this 384 area. So the key thing to watch on the downside is basically this level here at this 580.80 or the 581. If it comes down here and doesn't get a bounce back up, then we could see it will push through into this high volume area, and that will dip it down to 577.77 and put this lower range in play. And we could see a little bit more substantial pullback once the price dip into this high volume area. So those are the price action for the coming week. And if you want more additional content regarding the market and also trade idea and also my daily trade plan, be sure to go check out my newsletter, The Pulse of the Market, at substack.com. My link is smtraderCA.substack.com, and I'll put that link in the description below. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel, click the subscribe icon to subscribe and help support this channel. Now, for more content from me, go visit my newsletter at smtraderCA.substack.com. You will find trade ideas, daily trade plans, weekly market review and analysis, trading tutorial and strategies, and much more in my newsletter, The Pulse of the Market. And the link is smtraderCA.substack.com.